Welcome back, my dear mobile gaming friends. Today I've got a 4-course dinner of mobile games prepared for you all, so I hope your smartphone taste buds are ready for an explosive experience as I'll be serving both a hilarious stilt-walking simulator action game, an RPG-themed merge game that had me hooked for countless hours, a promising new PvP game in the vein of Crash Arena Turbo Stars, and finally, for dessert, a new Viking-themed survival RPG by the developers of Last Day on Earth Survival. And now, as you dive into this delicious meal that I've prepared for you guys, do let me know what your own favorite game of the week is, and with that said, let's just get started with the appetizer. Frostborn is a new top-down or isometric survival Viking-themed RPG game from the Last Day on Earth Survival developers. And yes, it's pretty much a reskin with added polish and actual multiplayer, which means both PvE and PvP, finally. I do sometimes wonder why that never made it into Last Day on Earth Survival, but hey, at least we've got it here in Frostborn. There's no waiting time when learning new crafting recipes or when placing buildings and crafting items, but we do use energy when traveling between regions to collect resources, which we have to wait or buy in-app purchases to then replenish. And in addition to this, the game is very pay to win with in-app purchases allowing us to buy resources immediately. Now on the bright side though, for those who really get into the game, there's both a guild system and team-based PvP waiting for you guys, and the Viking theme and the art style are very well made. The game requires online access, it takes up 170 megabytes of space, it's out on Android already, and it's scheduled for release on iOS within the next few months hopefully. And in conclusion, although the game gives paying users more of an advantage than I feel is fair, it is a very polished top-down adventure survival game, so it's worth considering checking out. And if you just loved Last Day on Earth Survival, then of course you definitely have to check out Frostborn. Now before we get to today's next game, I just want to give you guys a fair warning. This next game is highly addictive, so much so that it pretty much took up my entire life for, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks this summer. And the name of the game is Blacksmith, and it's an RPG-themed merge idle game where we tap the screen to craft weapons that automatically generate gold for us. We then drag to merge 2 weapons to turn them into a higher tier weapon, making room for more newly crafted weapons in our blacksmith inventory. And then we spend the gold we got on upgrading our blacksmith, and then we just continue like that over and over again. So yes, it's a silly little merge game, but it is dangerously addictive as I said, and its near perfect balance of idle and manual gameplay was what had me glued to the screen for, 20-30 minutes at a time when playing this game, trying to constantly achieve just the next tier of weapon. And then, when I got there, I was so close to getting the next tier, so I just had to continue and continue and continue and continue like that. Now at this point you might think that sounds pretty repetitive, but runes, upgrades, resets, and power-ups add variety and depth to this simple core gameplay system. And the game's very simple monetization strategy consists of occasional optional video advertisements for a quick boost, which never feel necessary by the way, unlike some other idle games out there, and then in-app purchases going up to around $10 to unlock things faster. The game is offline playable, it only sets you back 55 megabytes of space, it's out on Android and on iOS, and while it looks like a very simple game, this is the best merge idle RPG game I've played on mobile till date, so it's definitely worth a play if you like these types of games. Now at this point, we're about halfway through the main dish, but the next game is called Duels, and it's an RPG PvP game in the vein of Crash Arena Turbo Stars, which of course means that we slowly improve our hero by equipping new gear before we enter into championships, where our hero automatically fights another player's hero. Defeating all the players in the championship league that we're currently playing in progresses us to the next championship league, and then that's the end goal. We have to keep working our way to the higher championship leagues and then eventually defeat all other players in this game. In between these championship fights though, we've also got loot fights, which reward us with new loot, and while combat takes place automatically, the gear we equip and that we get from these loot fights directly defines the skills that our heroes can use during combat, which actually adds a very nice tactical layer to this game. The matchmaking system in Duels, on the other hand, is very unfair, forcing us to pretty much watch advertisements to search for new heroes or risk losing our win streak. And as if that wasn't bad enough, the game's in-app purchases allow us to buy the best loot immediately, giving paying users a large pay-to-progress fast advantage. The gameplay is still great fun though, the art style and the UI is very clean, and the fantasy RPG setting is neat, so if you don't mind the grind, the game is still worth considering taking for a spin in my opinion. The game requires online access, it takes up 194 megabytes of space, it's available on both Android and on iOS already, and if you loved Crash Arena Turbo Stars and you don't mind the grind, this one is definitely worth considering checking out. And honestly, the only reason this game doesn't get a glaring play it from me is the monetization system. And just like that, we've now arrived at my favorite dish of any meal, the dessert. And for dessert today, we've got Walkmasters, which is a fun, level-based, stilt-walking simulator that throws me back to the co-op browser game. Oh, the nightmares, by the way. If you guys have played that game, I feel so sorry for you guys. And it features hilarious animations, and it constantly has us sitting at the edge of our seats as we play this game. We tap the screen, we hold down, and then we slide either left or right to move one stilt at a time, do physics-based jumps to avoid obstacles, and slowly walk our way through the 270 2D platforming levels. And as we complete these levels, we slowly gather more and more gold, which we can use to buy new character skins, new hats, new glasses, and much more in the shop. And a single $3 in-app purchase allows us to remove the game's advertisements, with more in-app purchases then to unlock more character skins faster. But all of these items are purely cosmetic, they don't change the gameplay, and thus we don't have to buy any of them. But I would really strongly recommend you guys to support the developers though, if you like the game, and so the $3 in-app purchase is a great way to do that. The game can be played offline, it can be played both in landscape and in portrait mode, it takes up only 184 megabytes of space, it's available on both Android and on iOS, and in conclusion, Walkmaster is so much better than it looks on the surface. It had me laughing out loud over and over again, and that's why it's my favorite game of the week and a very easy recommendation from my end. And just like that, guys, the dinner is over. I hope you enjoyed the meal. And if you want more mobile gaming goodness, just hit that subscribe and notification bell to receive daily deliveries right here on YouTube. So until next time, just keep gaming, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys around.